Welcome to another video. It's PMfm episode 2. Say hello.
PMfm. Hey bud, how's it going?
Yeah, good. So we've got me, JP Quinn, and Tom Ali. And today we're going to talk about phone calls, which is not something that we have a direct influence on at Pharmacy Mentor. First off the bat, Sam, I want to ask you, as a pharmacist, from a pharmacist point of view, what do you think of when you hear phone calls in a pharmacy?
It's a good one. It's a good one, JP. It's a bugbear, really, for a pharmacy, and when you because the phone's going off constantly, it's a massive workflow disruptor, and it's usually, the can you see if my prescription's ready? Have you got my prescription? Where's my prescription? So yeah, it's a massive pain in the and I know all pharmacists listening to this can relate to it. So if there's a way we can deal with it, then it would be good.
Well, I mean, so that's the thing is that we like, one of the biggest selling points, I think, of a website, of like have an automated website, is that, and especially automated prescriptions with text alerts, things like that, is that it should take a massive volume off that sort of weight of phone calls that you're getting, and reduce that a lot, so you can get on with actually doing some work and getting the prescriptions ready, rather than just answering no, they're not ready yet, because the phone's not stopped going. However, I do wonder if there's a bit of a hangover maybe with pharmacy teams of almost like a frustration with answering the phone, that sometimes then phone calls aren't dealt with properly. And I'll give an example. Yeah. I'm not just sort of making that up. So I went on holiday recently to Portugal, and I knew all about PCR tests, and I knew what the process was. Like, I knew I could get it from a pharmacy. I wanted to support a pharmacy in getting one from a pharmacy. So I called up to book one, and all I did was I asked, do you do day 2 or day 8 ones? They said no, that's fair. I still need to get one on the way out. And so I'd announced on this phone call immediately, I want to book a PCR test for my holiday. I then asked the question of where, a bit of information around it. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. What
I got immediately left with was, oh, check the government website. I don't know about that. And then, and then, is that all you need? Like, it was like, okay, so thanks, see you later, bye. It's like, well, what about the fact that I wanted to book a PCR test with you? And what it left me with was a feeling that that person didn't really care if that pharmacy took a booking or not, which pharmacy owners obviously will have might not even know that their teams are perhaps dealing with things in that way. And I don't know if there's a hangover with just a general frustration with phone calls and information, but obviously that could be a big loss, big cause of loss in the pharmacy. What would you do? What would you do as a pharmacy owner, I guess, with your team to maybe change their way of thinking about the phone calls?
The thing is, obviously, maybe that because PCR testing is in such demand, the person you were speaking with just needed to get off the phone call because it's been going off for so many times in the day. I know that's happened to many pharmacies recently, but there's a few things to consider here, like making sure that maybe that pharmacy already had a website and the dispenser doesn't even know about it. That's actually common practice. There's actually pharmacies there's plenty of pharmacies with a website that actually their staff don't know about it. So that's kind of an education perspective. But yeah, like, notoriously, phone calls are just massively problematic, and the way to solve that is providing the public and their community with a digital solution, an alternative solution to that. You found the closest pharmacy to you and who was doing the PCR testing.
Well, they had
Google.
an option to book. However, for whatever reason, the booking system was down.
Ah, right. Okay. So
I would
they
have
did
booked
have a
otherwise.
website.
I would have booked
They
otherwise.
did have a website, and that lady didn't really. She didn't advise you to go back onto the website, maybe.
Well, that was it, and I think I'm not. I would never. I've worked in plenty of places and had to answer the phone calls and different. I'm sure that it may have just been a one-off, but I feel like it felt like I said, it felt like it very much could have been a symptom of a larger problem.
Exactly.
And that she just didn't have enough time to deal with it.
Yeah. I think it's she didn't have enough time. She's frustrated, and there is a kind of a lack of education potentially of their current online digital presence, but what else is out there? But there's easy solutions to solve this now, and they work very, very effectively, and they need to be employed now, because many of the people that ring pharmacies these days are the elder generation, because the clientele of the pharmacy is usually the older generation, but also they've traditionally been picking up the phone, and that's the way they do stuff, and that's the way they communicate. They'd rather pick up the phone and call the pharmacy. But now it's totally different. We all know that there's some really good apps out there that they can use to reorder their prescription, track their prescription, and select where they want to collect it from the pharmacy or have it delivered. But also, just the website and having a live chat functionality, and even to help with. So, as you know, JP, we're getting into chatbots now. So building chatbots onto websites. So I think this could be a bit of a game changer for pharmacies, because we always get the same questions.
Same questions.
The same questions, when people call. And if we have the solution, if we have the answers to that on a bot, and directs them to the correct place on the website, then this could really help with communication problems. But yeah, of course, the answer to that is digital, really.
Well, there's definitely, I mean, I agree. Like we know, you've got to automate the routine, the functional tasks so that your team can do the vital tasks, right? Because a chatbot can't replicate certain questions. That can only come from the pharmacy team. But
Absolutely.
They've got to have the time to deal with that, to have those conversations. That makes that the important thing that I want to get across really is that if that member of staff had felt like they had the time, they weren't frustrated, that would have meant money for that pharmacy.
Exactly. Yeah.
And they didn't make
one.
And they'll never know. Like that's the hard thing, is that phone calls are, I actually looked into it as well, and you can get. I don't know of any pharmacies that record their phone calls, for training purposes. Like literally every company that I know now does that. That's another thing that's like really widespread. Now I looked into like, can you do it legally with healthcare? And yes, if it's for training purposes, you can. So I think that's another thing that we could look into. But I'm interested to hear as well from pharmacists listening to this, what they think about it. Like, if you're in charge of a team, like how would you approach a problem like that? But B, from anyone who maybe answers the phones, what are their frustrations? I think it's a topic that's often just not overlooked, but like, oh, we can't deal with that right now. It's too big of a problem to sort right now, and I think it gets left a bit.
Yeah, it's the old classic. I'm too busy to sort that out, and usually, the pharmacy is just completely stacked, and they are. There are other solutions, having kind of an automated message that reels off when the patient calls,
Yeah,
to help kind of signpost where they need to go. But yeah, it's one thing that it's in a pharmacy right now. If you're getting too many phone calls and it's disrupting workflow, it's something that should be prioritized. Uh, because yeah, in a pharmacy, a disruption of workflow means a disruption of getting prescriptions out and delivering. So yeah, really needs to be looked at, that.
right. Well, let us know then in the comments what you think about this. Sam, thanks very much for joining us on another PMfm.
Nice one,
Next
JP.
time. See you on the next
I
video.
really appreciate it. See you in a bit, guys. Bye bye.
Yeah.